Seeing a wyvern fly freely across the sky, the protagonist made his decision. He didn't want to live as a tool anymore, so he left the great magic family. Before he could disappear, hunters were sent after him. To the family, he was still seen as just a troubleshooter, but the power he showed was far beyond that. He slid out a grimoire. If the Deculan family truly understood the grimoire, they would never have hidden it in a vault. The fact that they sent hunters after him proved its value. The man tried to negotiate. If he handed over the grimoire, leniency could be arranged. The protagonist mocked him openly, and then he felt it, a powerful presence. A man stepped forward and introduced himself, Perrin von Decolan, head of the Deculan magic family of the Eastern Continent. In all his years as a troubleshooter, this was the first time he had met the family head. The Deculan family was the strongest magic family on the Eastern Continent, and Perrin von Deculan was the strongest mage in its history. And after all that, the protagonist spoke. "You're kinda pissing me off." For a moment, even the family head was caught off guard. Still unfazed, the protagonist asked if the family head was trying to steal the grimoire he had obtained. Piron laughed quietly. Despite that, the protagonist's body trembled under the pressure of Piron's aura. Then the family head made an offer. If the grimoire was returned, everything would be forgiven. He praised the protagonist's talent and admitted that he regretted not recognizing it earlier. He then told him to return to the Deculan family and use his power to make the family even greater. The protagonist agreed, but only on one condition. Piron would have to give up his seat as family head. The moment he said it, Piron's expression twisted. The protagonist killed the man in a single move, reminding Piron of how many had already died to that technique. The smile disappeared from Piron's face. Even with the clear difference in power, the protagonist charged forward. Piron blocked the attack effortlessly. "Fine," he said. "I'll have to humble you first." Piron released his magic. Stone spears burst from the ground. The protagonist dodged just in time. Another spell followed immediately. He barely avoided it. Then he cast another spell. Crimson magic struck the protagonist directly. The explosion shook the ground. When the dust settled, the protagonist was still alive. Piron asked if he accepted now. The protagonist stood up and released another spell, clearly refusing. Piron blocked it without effort and struck back with greater, much powerful force. The attack brought him down. Barely conscious, his thoughts drifted to a wyvern he once saw, flying freely across the sky. Piron asked if he now understood the difference in their power. The protagonist asked if he was being told to become a troubleshooter again. No, Piron said he wanted him to become the head of a vassal family. Piron added that what he truly wanted was the protagonist himself. The grimoire was secondary. The protagonist slowly took out the grimoire, as if to hand it over. Then he burned it. Piron demanded to know why. The protagonist replied calmly. He had not left the family or taken the grimoire for money. He mentioned a fellow troubleshooter devoured by Deculan's young master, an incident that had been covered up. Piron asked if this was revenge. He denied it. Their lives were cheap, he said, but their dream wasn't, and he wasn't going to crawl back again. In response, Piron surrounded him with flames. "Regret your choice." "Regret my ass," he replied. "I'd rather die than crawl back." This was it. He was finally going to be free, even if only in death. But just as the flames closed in, something changed. The magic vanished. Everything froze. The grimoire reappeared, then sank into his chest, creating strange marks. "What is happening?" As he said that he was teleported to a different place. The place was unfamiliar at first, but the black and white streets quickly became recognizable. This was where he had barely scraped by every day, long before he became a troubleshooter. That was when he understood he had gone back in time. Catching his reflection, he saw himself, but younger, with the same marks still on his body. This wasn't a dream. The grimoire had done this, and the fact that the family head had come for it himself proved it. This wasn't a bad thing. This was the time he will shine now. Once, he had a dream. A dream he shared with his comrades, and the real reason he chose to retire. They wanted to create a place where anyone could read freely, no matter their wealth, status, or gender. A place open to everyone. He would build a tower and fill it with every book he could find. Now, he added one more thing to that dream. Right at the entrance of the tower, he'd put the Deculan family's secret manual on full display for everyone to enjoy, the one they treasured above everything else. Lost in his thoughts, he was suddenly kicked from the side. Who the hell? Then the punches came, one after another. 7 hits in total. A vicious smile crept onto his face. Fine. If he was getting hit 7 times, he'd hit back 10. He swung, but his hand snapped. Before he could recover, he was bullied again. Luckily, The guy slipped and fell straight into the sewer. The protagonist saw this opportunity and ran. No, not running. It was a tactical retreat. As for the 57 hits he took, he'd remember every one of them. Turns out, before the tower, he had to fix his body first. "Are you hungry?" A white-haired kid suddenly appeared. From his clothes, he looked like a noble who had lost a power struggle and fled. The kid introduced himself as Damien and mentioned his mother, Bianca. "I don't have a mom," the kid said. Not wanting to lose the unrequired verbal battle, the protagonist added, "I don't have a dad." A pointless victory. He told the kid to leave as he didn't want anything to do with nobles. Damien said he was coming with him anyway. Irritated, the protagonist was about to snap when the kid healed him without warning. Light spread across his body. He froze. That was light of healing, a secret art of the Blando family, destroyed by Deculin. He looked into the kid's strange eyes and remembered. A Blando who wouldn't die even when killed. The monster, Damien von Blando.
Back when our MC still worked as a troubleshooter before regression, he was dispatched to Blando territory under Deculin's order. The mission felt wrong from the start. If the Blando family was involved, they should have handled it themselves. No proper information was given, only that something dangerous was roaming the area, and dozens were already dead. When Asther finally encountered the threat, the rumors collapsed instantly. It wasn't an ogre. It wasn't even a monster. It was a human tearing another human apart. The man endlessly cast the Blando family's healing magic on himself, restoring his body faster than it could be destroyed. He laughed while fighting. Pure madness. A butcher who refused to die. Damien von Blando. Now, in the present, that same Damien stood in front of him, white-haired, carefree, childish. Nothing like the future monster. It was hard to believe they were the same person. That raised a bigger question. Why was the direct heir of the Blando family wandering around like this? Before MC could think further, Damien suggested eating, casually quoting his mother about health and food. The advice was reasonable. Then he casually pulled out gold coins. At that point, overthinking stopped. Our broke boy pulled Damien close and declared friendship on the spot, flipping his character in an instant. Friends shared food. Damien agreed, although he seemed doubtful. After eating and washing up, both ended up resting. Damien revealed he had been sleeping outside and didn't even know there were rooms upstairs. Damien claimed that he slept for 10 times on streets, naps counting as sleep. From Damien's vague counting method, MC estimated he had been alone for 3 or 4 days. The situation felt deeply wrong, but useful. Acting as a caretaker meant building a connection with the Blando family, and noble houses meant books. That alone made it worth it. There was also an unresolved grudge. He laid down, in his past life, magic had been built on the standard formulas issued to troubleshooters. They were reliable, but it was limited. Because of that, he infiltrated several noble families and stole their techniques. Through that process, MC had mastered multiple secret arts: Might's reinforced body, spirit arts, summoning alchemy, and several hybrid techniques created by mixing them together. He closed his eyes and activates the breathing technique, Heaven's source art, the root of Deculin's techniques. The marks on his chest begin to glow, and an unbearable burning spreads through his body. He forced the mana through the circuits using mana shower. The pain slowly fades. The impurities are burned away one by one. When he opens his eyes again, it becomes clear that the purification is complete. The mana's purity is now higher than it ever was in his past life. But still, it wasn't enough to defeat Deculin. But the odds have undeniably improved. Damien's platinum blonde hair is dyed brown, and his clothes are changed to keep attention away. Once the disguise is done, he casually asks what they're doing next, and calls Asther his friend, as if that status has already been decided. Asther doesn't respond right away. There's still unfinished business. The 57-hit grudge is still outstanding. Not long after, a familiar group shows up. The one clearly in charge mocks Asther's appearance. Asther recognizes the face at once. He punched him without a second thought, and the count begins. 123 hits. Only the opening. More of them gathered. Someone mutters that it's the youngest one. Asther smiles. They all seem familiar. The fight breaks out. Our boy takes on multiple opponents using nothing but punches. He compressed his magic tightly around his fists. From Damien's perspective, it's overwhelming. The speed, the control, the sheer lack of effort. Damien heals while Asther keeps punching. It becomes a strangely efficient system. Our boy bullied them till he achieved his 57-hit grudge. By the end, everyone is down. 100 hits each. Thousands in total. They ask if they can leave. Our MC gives them a strange, unsettling look and instead tells them to leave their own house. Asther doesn't relax. Something feels off. A presence is approaching, controlled, sharp, and unmistakably that of a troubleshooter. With little mana left and his body far from ideal, extended combat or large spells aren't an option. Still, this kind of situation isn't new to Asther. He gathers what little energy he has, compresses it, and focuses everything into a single decisive strike. Before it can be released, the approaching figure suddenly kneels. Young master. Asther freezes in confusion. The man explains that the household has been searching relentlessly for Damien. Watching the exchange, Asther finally understands. Damien didn't escape danger. He simply ran away from home. The man introduces himself as Alfred, a butler of the Blando family. After apologizing for the disturbance, Alfred then politely asks whether our MC would accompany them back to the Blando household. Normally, noble families are avoided due to complexity and hidden motives. However, the Blando family controls access to Hazen, home to the Eastern region's finest academy and its unparalleled library. Since Asther intends to build the ultimate library someday, Asther agrees. They arrive at the Blando Manor. This becomes MC's first official visit to a noble estate. The butler gives instructions and assigns Lance to take charge. Lance approaches Damien and gestures for him to follow. Inside the manor, tension rises quickly. Bianca, Damien's mother, questions about Damien's whereabout. It turns out he had wandered into the black-white zone, an area not meant for him. His mother reacts immediately. A clear warning is issued. If even a single hair on her son's head is harmed, consequences will follow. The butler steps in calmly and explains everything in detail. Once the situation is fully understood, the anger subsides. It is fortunate things end at this level, especially considering Bianca was once known as the Blood Witch. The butler continued that there is something unusual about Damien's new friend, Asther. The butler explains that Asther detected his presence immediately and had already prepared countermeasures. When they met, Asther already had a mana bullet prepared. That level of awareness is not normal. His talent was not ordinary. He then asked if he could make our MC his successor. The next morning, the offer is formally presented. The reaction is unexpected. Asther rejects it without hesitation. The butler is visibly stunned. For someone born in the black-white zone, this offer represents wealth, honor, and a secure future. Turning it down makes no sense. The world is vast, the butler says. Asther adds calmly, not small at all. The refusal stands. The butler continues, saying that Asther must think he can do anything and conquer the world. Asther replies, that's not how it works. The head butler's patience almost snaps. He asks if Asther has ever heard of ravine bone goblins. According to him, Asther's current state is exactly like that. Someone unaware of the dangers beyond. Asther casually adds that he would probably be a wyvern by now. That is when the butler finally snaps. From the butler's perspective, MC understands nothing about how vast or terrifying the world truly is. To prove his point, the butler takes MC to where his trainees are gathered. They are all around MC's age, yet clearly well-trained, their talents already recognized within the Blando family. The butler points this out directly, suggesting that MC could become even better than them if properly guided. The Blando youths are impressive. Asther replies that he senses something. This excites the butler. The proposal is repeated. RMC refuses again. The refusal makes no sense to the butler. A child from the black-white zone turning down power, honor, and safety is unheard of. One trainee speaks up, suggesting that MC simply doesn't understand what he is rejecting yet, and proposes giving him first-hand experience. A spar is suggested. The butler agrees. MC is asked directly. He is aware that he is being seen as a thorn, the lucky stray mutt that wandered in. He agrees, but insists on choosing his opponents. He points at one trainee, then another, selecting 5 trainees at once. Confusion spreads through the group. The butler is briefly confused, then laughs. This is exactly what my successor should be like. A condition is set, 1 minute. If MC lasts 1 minute, a reward will be given. If he fails, responsibility will be enforced, meaning acceptance of the butler role. The intent behind the offer is obvious. MC recognizes it immediately and accepts anyway. The training ground is prepared. The instructor expresses concern for MC's safety. The butler dismisses it. Breaking stubbornness, after all, is necessary for growth. Damien watches closely, visibly excited. The instructor warns Damien that MC is in danger, but Damien seems unconcerned. The rules are explained. The match continues until surrender. The instructor may intervene if necessary. Before things properly begin, one trainee openly insults MC, accusing him of being blinded by favoritism. Then, suddenly, a punch lands. The trainee collapses. When he looks around, all the others are already on the ground, clutching their stomachs. MC steps forward calmly, magic surging in his hands. The trainees stare in disbelief. Isn't this just basic mana manipulation? Isn't it inefficient in close combat? MC launches compressed mana bullets toward them, hitting all of them at once. The difference in experience is undeniable. MC closes the distance and delivers the final blow, sending the challenger flying. This is magic. Physical magic. He follows up with a kick. The instructors watch in disbelief. The trainees are in no better condition. All of them are being overwhelmed by a single person. Asther is effectively bullying 5 challengers at once. From the side, the head butler observes carefully. The compression level of the mana stands out immediately. Judging by the impact alone, the mana must have been compressed 3 to 4 times. If that attack had landed directly on him earlier, he might not have walked away unharmed. Damien enters the fight using healing magic. One side heals. The other side continues attacking. It becomes an absurdly effective combination. The raw mana control is innate. Before the situation escalates further, a presence arrives. The lady of the house appears. The instructors freeze. What happened here? An explanation is offered. A simple test. That explanation fails to convince anyone when 5 trainees are seen lying on the ground. Damien is told to return to his room. Asther is instructed to do the same. Alfred accepts responsibility and apologizes for losing his temper. When asked what truly happened during the spar, the answer is straightforward. Asther single-handedly overpowered 5 trainees. He used compressed mana bullets again, this time compressed 3 to 4 times. That level of compression confirms his mana control is exceptional. Even experienced mages struggle to manipulate raw mana without structured spells. Asther does it casually. Despite all this, the offer to become the butler's successor is still rejected. That surprises the lady. Asther is summoned. She presents him with a box. When he opens it, he finds a high-grade elixir, the kind reserved for top recruits of elite magic corps. Asther immediately suspects conditions. High-grade items never come without expectations. Bianca reassures him. There are no contracts, no poison, no obligations. The elixir is an apology for both the incident and the help previously given in the black-white zone. Asther accepts it cautiously. Then comes the real proposal, an academy admission. The request is simple. Attend alongside Damien.